Supreme Rising. Already know the vibes. It's NAGA The Wise. Yo, so you see the title, this level of truth right here. Anyway, you just jump right into it. I'm going to try to talk as plainly as possible. All right, I'm going to try to deliver this as plainly as possible. First and foremost, before I even get into this transmission, y'all need to quit thinking that divine does things more than once. Divine don't do things more than once. And I don't think y'all comprehend when things are said or how they're said, what they actually mean. Y'all look for repeated processes. I'll give you one example. The chosen term and being called. Divine called every creation, even creators, by name when they were created. Everything is called. Few were answered. Think about that. Everything is called, but few were answered. That means all creations, even the larger ones that create other things, creators, are also created by the Most High. What is that saying? Everything was created right in the start, but few choose to answer. Many did not choose to answer. Those non-answering creations chose to go their own direction, brought sadness. You comprehending? You keep breaking it down to stupidity. They don't even know what they're talking about. So don't follow it. You got to go deep. If you're going to just listen to what somebody says, it's literally going to lose you very, very fast. Now, with that being said, if divine says something, it's absolute. It doesn't go from sections. Put that over there in the corner. On the wooden desk next to the window. Now, you got to comprehend something. A lot of you don't like doing that, comprehension. The problem y'all got is you're not understanding how to use the things that are meant to show you how to work in this world. So it's easily to manipulate you because the lie has been told a long time ago. First and foremost, speaking is good when you're learning. What's different is the fact that you have to learn something. At some point, the value of learning was only equated to people being on the same scale against wild, natural things, which there was a communication barrier that was strengthened to allow a natural union. Unfortunately, in that time of existence, people still had weaker armor and was able to feel something called fear from the things that would happen in the wild. This same energy stayed, and it keeps constantly being a reminder to certain things against natural orientation. The reason why I'm explaining it this way, because if I start speaking fast and scientific, y'all not going to know shit. So, with that being a natural kink in the armor, kind of, sort of, in a sense, that was the only tool that was used to get manipulation foothold into something, so therefore control could take place. The control that takes place is the value of fear projection, which you don't comprehend, not you, the cultural, original, even the cousins to that value who are being used as the detriment, speak a lot, a bunch, fast, with a frequency behind it. That's projection. That projection in itself is causing energies to bring forth other circumstances. You are literally speaking the existence into this reality. So, when you had a culture of people who lacked a comprehension to an understanding, trying to force a way into an existence, and then was reprimanded, that energy became their level of fear and manipulation. So speaking happened. I'm going to do everything against the rules, out of turn, because this was told it's not how we should do it. You got to understand what that means. Everything around you is water. Take an image and put it by water, freeze the water. The image will be in the water. We're talking eons, yo. Life expectancies. Civilizations that were built up and failed over and over again with constitutional conversation based off emotional concepts of non-conception, stupidity, yelling, loud, moving off of non-contempt. I just heard someone say earlier, it's going to get more worse. Woo! It's going to get bad. People are going to do this and do that. We are going to have to live this way. And then you have an audience, and that audience is 70 to 100,000 people. That image is now placed in the water of motion and electromagnetic field, because your body is plasma and 80% water, or give or take more. So, what am I saying to you? Every intention that's pushed, planned, otherwise manipulation into your face to project a emotional category in you starts to become the constant you look at, listen to, now being placed into your water, fusing with the image, making this reality real within the creations that create, because you are what you come from. Correct? So if I want to change the world, I will be in every place in front of your face. You will not be able to turn nowhere and hear nothing else but me. And if you try to have any other value, I will insert control, because my job is to place in your water a energy that you are going to produce out of into the world as a reality. Spells, right? He would talk about the spells. This is the reality. This is what's really going on. Everything. And the one thing they hope you don't wake up to is that, keep in mind, if the water is being the impression of what controls you, and age is the dehydration of the water, once I imprint so much in your water dries out, you die. It would be imperative to only have divine imprinting into your water then, right? So then you can make sure, you know, what you're actually getting. So nobody's actually going to even comprehend. This is like higher level. And I've been on this. Like I said, it's places I really want to go and talk to people about, but I fear that it'll fall on, you know, deaf ears or whatever. And unfortunately, hold on. And unfortunately, we're not supposed to cast pearls at swine, right? And I get the reason why people get all frustrated and mad and you want to do something, Shout out to a lot of some of these people in here that be doing their thing. Shout out to a lot of some of these people in here. I heard myself say that. It's all good. But I'm thinking about shouting out a couple of y'all because I be sitting in the background watching your energy while y'all be doing y'all little things and speaking and stuff. And I'm trying to see who really, and there's some of y'all that got some dope attributes. Like some of y'all really shine on certain chakra levels. And I'm able to place or title where you are. And it's important. Like it's very significant. And I love it. It feels great just to watch some of you guys do what you do. And I just wanted to put that out there as a sidebar. I may come and give reference to who some of these people are so you guys can check them out on social media. I just want to watch them a little bit more so I don't get ahead of myself, before I end up hearing something crazy or whatever and be like, oh, I'm not promoting that. I'm not vouching for that. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't said nothing yet. But as far as I see, I have some people in my sites that are really, really interesting, and I think they'll be beneficial to strong minds. It's because every so often I get impressed when I see them put the pieces together correct. And that's dope to be pointed out. It should be pointed out because that'll lead some people in the right direction based off their mentality. And I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm willing to say, yeah, that's their profession. That's what they're doing. And I vouch for them based off experience that I've seen. I didn't even have to connect with them to see if they were talking real. It's energetic shit you know how to see. So certain people I'm going to show y'all to, or I don't know them personally. I'm just going to commend the value of what they've been doing. Anyway, just know we can't be so, let me cut that energy line right there. Let's jump back on the previous frequency. Water. We got to comprehend that a lot of things that we take for granted and its reason for control doesn't mean that it's insignificant because the control has taken the value. Ultimately, when water was a free essence, people moved freely. They moved a little more freely when they started selling water or containing water and making it seem like water was under control. Also followed the notion of how those things started changing. If you remember anything about when water actually started getting sold in a bottle, also the TV started changing. They started making people take the floor models and the old school domed glass TVs out, and they started talking about plasma TVs at the same time, right? And that kind of just went unnoticed to people in the same category. Like we're in school, like, why are we buying water? But they're like, yeah, now we got to get a new TV. Like, why are they changing the TVs? Like nobody never put the two and two together. Well, that's inherent to the fact of what you would call a curse. Right. So it's like we put the water in bondage. We put water in chains. And then now that the water in chains, we make a mechanism to speak to their water. And that's what the TVs were for. That's why they came out with plasma TVs. They were hoping and praying that it would hit so hard that everybody would fall into the lines of everything projected from Holly Weird or, the Holly Tree projection, iconic place of entertainment that people digress to, all the time for self entertainment and pleasure. So that's why that took place. Like you look at water, like, yo, they're controlling the water. Water is free. Why would you do that? Well, they had to put chains on water in order to attempt to cast a spell on the water in everybody's body. Women break water when they have babies. You are mostly water and you sweat water and water falls out the sky. Everything needs water to survive. You get where it's going. Like to do that, it sets the precedent. So this is how they started changing how people had an outlook on how they saw themselves, inserting certain characters based off the depravity of what you went through. What does this mean? The same issue that they have as a controlling party, always wanting to outspeak, seem as if they're not controlled by anything, to seem as if they're in power. So they never respect anything. So they were tuned to be a projection of demon creation. So as they speak a lot of rhetoric and they're yelling, why, and the angry faces, and why you, and you're this, and da da da, all that projection, right? It comes inside your water, and then your reciprocation to that energy gives the creation to the value. So this is why we're always looked at what it will come out as a manifestation. This is why we're watched in our world as the lowest placement and what we would change stuff into, because we're the creators. So once that image is burned into the water, what would it manifest as through life? You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's happening that way. But you don't see that this is the actual power. So how do you control a creator and have the creator allow itself to be or think that it's still in creational mode? You see? And this is something that a lot of people are never going to get a chance to comprehend or even come close to as far as a comprehension. And because you can't think in this direction, because you're not even close to even comprehend why any of this is, your emotional capability is always outspoken towards something in a derogatory way, which you're built naturally on one side of the radius to create the demon, and on the other side of the radius to have gas to push you to feel inferior towards something that you can't do. So on this side, the only thing they can do is output negative energy to fuel the fire. On this side, you transmute that energy and put it out. You create the energy because you're the dynamic. You're going to create the best version of what that is, or the worst version of what that is. Real spit. That's what's going on in the world, everybody. That level of truth is something that if you are intelligent enough to actually think about it, you'll watch it take place in your life every day. You'll watch it take place within the value of your priorities. And you can't separate it, because divine, the law of divinity and the reason for these things are still going to be what they are, whether the time explains anything. And if you learn anything from any historical point in value, any religious notion, biblical aspect, spirituality, contempt, any of these things, if you got anything from it, what you should have got is every civilization, everybody was more into that civilization until it fell. And when it fell, you had people who were able to see the value of life other than the civilization. That's always the value. It's always that, like, when it's all over, was you more in tune with what gave you life, or was you in tune with what came out of the energy of what gave you life? Like, if was you there, was that more important to you, like, of what you can obtain from life? Or was you like, yo, got life? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it sounds crazy, and it's super simple. It's super, super simple, because there's two energy signatures that sit in those placements. The two energy signatures that sit in those placements, the one that's still is strong. It's strong through infinity. And the one that's not as strong, it's trying to become strong. So it doesn't know that it has strength. It has to learn it. Right? So there's a ceiling for that. But the other one, it already has an integrity of using endless energy. That's all it knows. Right? So this is why it always reattaches to the continuance, and then everything else kind of falls apart, and then it comes back as a rebirth. That's the yin and yang. But deeper to the fact of those notions, the control doesn't have to take place. You don't know the mechanism of how control works. So when it happens, you're like, how did this happen? Well, revert to the beginning of this live. And we're speaking into the value of projection, and how sounds and frequencies, meaning your words and energy and intention, affects the water. It's about the water, yo. It's always been about the water, but you don't see that. I could just see the reason. I could see them turn the dial up on the people to get them to project more insignificance into the true living water, which is inside the original people. So then what comes out of the living water is how it's filtered through your flesh. They know what they're doing. Whether or not the entirety of people understands it, like all cultural people, every person that's on the ground is being used. It doesn't matter how you're being used, though. And I think that right there affects people more than anything else, because you don't know that the act of a person is a mechanism in combination with the fact of what you are. So what you are, and now I need something to affect what you are to make what you are create something for me. That's how the usage is. So if I make it to where you don't know that you're yelling and crying, check this out. I love this part. Like, you don't know that you're yelling and crying like a baby will make you go get that baby bottle. I know that's probably gonna go over everybody's head, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? You get a chance to check this out, you're already gonna know the vibes. You feel me? But yeah, I know they be trying to X me out because, you know, I don't hold on to shit. I point out the factor, and I continue. But Divine gonna keep showing regardless. It ain't gonna never stop being seen. Like, so they're always seen, and it's not, you can have this access to, all right? Every last one of you have the same access. You'll just turn on in it in a different way. And you got to understand that's why you start to get some particular value of feeling something. Of course, it will be demonized, because why would I want to lose control of you? I know what you can do, but you don't know what you can do. So I need to use you. And if you know what you can do, how would I be able to use you to create the world I want? The disdain for you is not the fact of how you look. The disdain is the fact that I want to keep you as a tool. No more, no less. If I can keep you as a tool to do what I want to do, then of course. So no, I can never make you feel more special than I have you as a tool. Yeah, it felt good to hear certain people say what we created and whatever value, but that's like saying, yeah, I love that saw. That saw cut a lot of trees for me. I love that saw. That saw is awesome. That saw cut trees down in blocks. And we made wood with that saw, and we sawed and sawed. I like that saw. Like, when you're lacking intelligence, you don't see things you don't know what undermining sounds like. You know what I'm saying? You don't catch the air of undermining. Somebody can undermining you politely. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you don't have the comprehension of all alphabets, when you really don't know how words are being said and you just hear things, it's really like it's falling and hitting a block. It's like it hit your ear and you heard how they wanted it to come out, not how they said it. That's not even being taught no more. Like, the intelligent people that know that don't really teach that. You know what I'm saying? Most of us who know that, you learned it, so you use it. You're not like, yo, think like this. You got to be able to do this. Like, there's nobody showing you these things. And naturally, like, my elders was like that. They'll be like, nah, check this out this way. You know what I'm saying? They would say slick shit, and I'd be like, what that mean? You know what I'm saying? And they would mock me and be like, what did it mean? But they knew it was in there. So it's like the elders, like my grandparents, they knew if they said something, even if I didn't understand it, they knew that it was inside of me. And the fact that I didn't understand it, I would probably question it forever, which would give me the opportunity to learn every single thing that was attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the knowledge from the elders was way more powerful. Like, and I think that's a good salvation as far as what the ancestors has done with a lot of you. If you can sit down and remember when they said, positive things to you that gave you strength, those images is still burned dimensionally inside your water. There's still images in your water. You can access those libraries. You can access those images and bring them to the surface of your water. You can filter your energy through that. You know what I'm saying? This is what remembering the things they told you really means. It's about the water, yo. You know what I'm saying? When your water get tainted, that's what's going to filter out through you. That's the definition for integrity. That's saying information has been burned into your water. It becomes integrity, right? But they're not going to tell you that way. They're going to use that word. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, it to me, like, my brain has exploded. It's like it's so many more aspects. I can go deeper into a different comprehension to show you how even the false words have a connection to the actuality of these perceptions based off still confusing you but attracting you in the same reference. The whole point to the value is everything of that world is meant to confuse you. So it's confusing even to unravel it. You know what I'm saying? But you can unravel it and actually look at the pieces that they use. But my conclusion to unraveling it is that this is just a bunch of damn confusion. And divine says, whenever confusion is available, you flee from that. Right? So one of the things I've always been able to do, and one of the first trials I remember as a kid, when I was like 5, I used to like taking knots out. I used to make them first because I didn't know how to tie my shoes right. So I would knot the hell out of my shoes. Like, my shoe would have knots in it. Like, I would hate that because you got knots in the wrong parts of your laces and all that. It was like my shoes was like a maze of their own, and I would mess them up, and I would be mad because your shoelaces get all dirty. You know, you got to try to pull the knots out. And then when you finally get the knots out, you see inside the knots, they were still clean, right? You're learning something. Me personally, I took that knowledge and asserted to values. And as I grew older, I started liking, instead of being frustrated that I had knots, I learned how to take them out really, really fast. Right. So then it was a thing. Like, I'm like, ain't no knot got a chance against me. I'm going to unravel that shit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, taking things apart and fixing it, seeing things for what they are, you know, getting all the pieces of it, being able to untie them and look at all the pieces, going into the deepest aspect of it. And that's the thing that's holding it together. Da, 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 da. I had a friend of mine gave me a rope, and it had a super tight knot in it. And he was like, you'll never be able to get that out. And I got it out, right? And it wasn't no apology. His face had like the structure of, I'm going to hold back the amazement that I see that you actually took this knot out. I was rolling on the inside. Like, I was laughing. I was laughing so hard. And I was trying everything in my power not to laugh out loud because I could see it in his face. He was trying to be, what's the word? Stoic. He was trying to keep his face like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't, like, he was like, yo, how the hell he took this shit out? I tried for months and I could not budge it. But I had it out, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, I want that part out too. I was like, but you said this part. It was because he didn't expect me to do it. But I ended up getting it all out. And it was like one little tiny knot. I was like, I'll take it out if you want. You know what I'm saying? He was like, no, I can get it. Right? He wanted to know how I did it. I was like, I just pulled it out. I just kept working it until I got it out. You know what I'm saying? It was so funny, yo. It was so funny because his face was broke, yo. He was like, but he had to, I'm not shocked trying to have a, yeah, we all could have did that. If you could do it, I could have did it face. Get the fuck out of here. If you would have, you wouldn't have asked me to do it, right? Anyway, point to the value is, that's me. That's who I am. You know what I'm saying? My whole life, I would like be placed in hard situations and I would have to try to figure it out. Even I would place myself in hard directions to travel, and you would have to walk really far or take the risk and jump across a ravine that's so deep you might hurt yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I've tried, you know, crazy things and been sitting, you know, hanging on to an edge like, hey, why you did that shit? Now you sitting here on the edge. And then the calculation will come. You know, the time it's going to take for you to get out of this position that you put yourself in is the same time it would have took for you just to walk around the long distance. Like, life does shit like that to you. You know what I'm saying? And when you are doing these lessons, you don't get a chance to be acclimated to stupidity, more or less the system. You don't get a chance to see none of that shit. You're not looking at it because you're too busy suffering the lesson of learning. It's a lot of pain and learning truth. And if you're doing it from a long time, like if you started from when you're young, that suffering equates to some of the same values of people's idiocy and being a part of the system. Right? But the gain is the fact that you get to learn a true life lesson under the divine, opposed to learning life lessons being manipulated and lost in the system and then being flung out of that shit when it's done with you and be like, I did everything I was supposed to. Why doesn't life work? Because you followed the wrong path. Something different. Something completely different. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful, yo. Like, y'all want to, and I get it. That's why I said a long time ago, I don't read and listen to things to see what they're saying. I listen to see what they think they know. Just get on your own higher level. I'm serious, because it's waiting for you. So if you ain't hear anything I said and you just coming in or whatever, go back and start this over. Trust and believe. I don't think nobody takes that serious, and how simple it is. It's the reason why they recreate the value. But what's going to naturally deflect it and give you like this surprise feeling like, wow, it still didn't work, is the fact that you start growing your light. When you grow your light, it gives you levels of protection. When you adhere to the natural orientation of your existence, it gives you protection, because you're supposed to grow to a value of adding to this system, not separating from it. Like, your energy should grow to a level of protecting the system to continuously create things that's going to grow light. So with that in its own factor, whenever you file in line via the same concept, word and play, have discipline for the divine, file in line with the natural orientation, or same thing, be disciplined to the divine of all things, creators, all creators, good, bad, and indifferent. Same adherence, right? When you do that, your energy can be patchwork to, you know, like great grandma used to do, make that patch blanket and put all those pieces in. Yeah, that's life. You become a beautiful patch, a strong piece, a pathway for other creations of your own lineage to follow. Your energy becomes residual energy. It becomes the way you've walked, the way you roll your heels on the bottom of the ground and you push and you intend heavy. You give intention through life. So when they feel that intention, they remember you through that time indefinite. That hug felt so real. You know, that walk felt so intentful. That love felt so genuine. That conversation was so authentic. Those pieces of reality is what it means when they say love covers a multitude of sin, because that love that's given to you at those moments and those settlements of time be the reason that other impressions, the other attacks, the other cast and spells, the negative things that people are saying in the world that you think is going to affect you, these plans and weapons are trying to be formulated in all these dark spaces. This is why they don't touch you. Love covered a multitude of sin that was going to come to you. You're not lucky. Somebody loved you and built that barrier inside your water by speaking a level of strength and truth into you. That's really what's going on. Unbeknownst to the intelligent value, people can project and throw your truth in a whole nother direction, because that's how they manipulate in the world. They make it confusing, so therefore you can't see nothing. But when you attach to the divine, that's infinite. Just like they said in the Matrix. Well, the agents, they can punch through walls and they can dodge bullets. Well, the agents can do that, you will have no limits. Facts plus 10x. You take that how you want. You know what I'm saying? And that's for everybody. So you got to understand the level of manipulation that's on you before you start being in consideration to judge the opposite battle that you think you're dealing with. In all actuality, there is no battle of cultures. That's just different mechanisms that are used to play the same role. So yeah, if I can create your mentality to be affected in this value, then you get what I'm saying. So here's a cross reference. Why do you think that they allowed so many cultural aspects to come in and play some significant roles that should have been beneficial for the indigenous or the original people in each sector, right? And they wanted to impose a level of value over what was natural. Now, let me show you a catch-22. And you move that same energy into those brackets and you're hoping to create this desolate feeling like, dang, yo, we don't never get help. They don't never care about us, right? You start saying these things. You're projecting it out. In the same process, you're begging the same thing that puts you in the situation you're in for salvation. But then your magic that comes off of your creation, which you absorb and which you're passionate about, is the fact that they never serve you. You'll say rich people always get richer and they keep the poor people poor. You'll follow every natural orientation that they say as propaganda. You'll spit it out and then you'll say, yeah, they don't care about us. They keep us here. You are literally saying how you want the world to be, not knowing that that control is making you intentionally, sincerely from your heart tell the universe how it should be. The universe, the ether, is the power that you create. The sunlight shines that light down on us to give us the energy of creation. So yeah, they're using you as a wand by the way they treat you. So they keep treating you a certain way, you're going to tell the universe everything when you open your mouth. Because you want to speak like them. You want to be the one who overspeaks things. Because it looks cool to you in the world on TV when you see somebody speaks down to the authorities and they can check someone and they're like, why they don't do that for us? And they'll keep uplifting a value to make you feel inferior because that level of fear inside of you gives the universe the power to give this sect of individuals their livelihood and creation. So they need to keep showing up in the most important way that's to you, especially through the transmutation of that creation called the plasma screen TV. And I don't want you focusing on none of this. So I'm going to show you more hardcore stuff. I'm going to promote the best movies, the best gangster movies when people in there, having sex, shooting guns, killing people and don't care. I want you to have that as an embodiment. I want you to see this and wear that energy inside your body. So when you walk outside, you don't even care about what you're connected to. You will kill it. You don't care because you watch TV. That's why you like, I don't care. I watch TV. Why you try to... You don't see that you're inhabiting these same energies through your water. You don't see that you're asking yourself, can I be this? You don't see that you're sitting there taking the codes in. And when the war starts happening, only thing they got to do is play the other role, the role that's not being played, right? Everything has contrast. So if I can see that and I can stand in the same place, the road less traveled, but they're on the other road less traveled in the opposite direction. And I can see that. And I'm like, so y'all leaving all this for these people to have for no reason. Simply put, they set the game for you to fight against each other without understanding why you fighting against each other with a justified reason. It's like saying, yeah, it's justified, but are you strong enough to be almighty? If I create an energy input in there for you, do you look at who created the energy or do you look at who inflicts the energy? This is why most people don't want to take accountability. That's why the country won't take accountability. You think America about to sit here and take accountability for slavery when slavery didn't start here? It started in Germany. And it didn't start with Germans. It started with the decimation of Germany. It started with the murder of King Alexander, which was a person of color. The golden ages, the 60 million people of color that were enslaved and transmuted and murdered. 60 million, larger than anything. And if the so-called formulation of America or the ancestors of the colonizers, so to say, They were contracted. That was a job idea given to them. You have to know that because they didn't know shit. They didn't know anything. They didn't have anything. Everything they had, it was taught. So they were shown that this is a job for them that they can make money on it and finally come up to a larger scale in the world other than what they did. And this is when the Moors got involved. This is when all these other mishaps started playing a role. Karma came to us because our people joined in that transmutation of that energy. The slavery, the 60 million. So they had to create false stories and all that other stuff. This is the same thing. This is still projection of energy into water. This is saying at that point when those people was deprived, we're going to give you a power that you never had. That impression in that made them throw away all logic and all morals. That's why they're never going to take accountability. They're not going to say, yo, yeah, we in control of all that, because if they take control of that, if they say they are the ones that are responsible for all slavery, what they're going to do is they're going to free up the people who actually gave them the contract to do that. And they get to walk away with the money that they took from that. So they're not about to do that. They're like, hell no. We already signed a contract with these idiots. If we get on national TV and take responsibility for that, that means all of that's going to come with that because there's other information attached to that. Unbeknownst to you, you're not privy to that knowledge because they don't teach the truth. You see how control works? Control kind of traps them in their own lies. So when you lie one time, you got to lie again and then lie again and then have another lie to cover that lie. You know what I'm saying? And then when you realize the type of lie that you're attached to, you're like, wait a minute. I ain't do all that. That's kind of America. That's kind of America when it comes to slavery. But y'all don't see it like that. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that they got treaties with other things to have other situations going, they're not about to say, well, if you want us to take accountability, you got to blame them. They're not about to do that. So they're just going to say, no, we're not going to take accountability and leave you sitting there aimlessly. That's the whole point. So it all goes back to the water, regardless if anybody wants to see this or comprehend it or not or whatever, who gives a shit, right? But it's the reality, you know? So keep in mind, lack of viewership to me doesn't stop this being ever seen or heard. The power in this earth is synapses. So I just have to think it and say it. I don't have to be anywhere for anybody to know that. Once I say it in one place, another person similar to my frequency and value will think it. And someone to them, and they're, look at my ear ringing like a motherfucker, yo. Someone similar in value to their frequency is going to just ripple through everybody like a wave. That's the natural oriented. I don't even need people for that. The trees and water feel this vibration. It's water everywhere. I'm a water symbol. So when I'm speaking into the air, these particles of water that are picking up this frequency, somebody will be like, ding, 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 and get the same thought and be wondering why they think that shit. That's how that works. That's how that works. Now, I don't want to have to go into deeper concepts of why they're thinking that they're, even with that access, what they say they about to start selling sunlight. Yeah, y'all see this dumb shit, yo? Like, it's about to get crazy, but that's not reality. That's a karmatic notion. When they start trying to get close to doing some of the same audacity, not ideas, the same audacity like before, like having control over natural orients, when that happens, that's when you know that karma line is opening up. So this whole push and pressure, and you've seen so many karmatic values take place, they need you to get involved. If you don't get involved, your involvement is not going to allow the karma that they're facing to spread over to you. Just like with the Moors, when they got it and got involved and said, yeah, we'll help you sell people. And they were selling their people. So the Moors were selling Caucasians at one point, like a long time ago, like in the 800s, the 900s, the 1100s, 1200s, 1300s. They were selling white women, stuff like that. So I ain't gonna say, nah, because that's hundreds and hundreds of years. Yeah, about 500 years within that time, probably from around 900 to like the 1300s, 1400s. But you can see it on the maps. So that's how they got us trapped in that. They did it to us. That's why they don't want to take accountability. They want to talk about all the values and how great we are. Yeah, you want to talk about that now because you was the one out there trying to be selling people. So that kind of got us involved. So now the whole catch is if we can get you involved, because they know we like to mind our own damn business. You know what I'm saying? We don't really like to be in people shit like that. We rather focus on ours. So while you focusing on yours, going within, that's the best place you can be. But they need you to be involved so they can spread or share the karma like a germ, like a rash, you know, chicken pox. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh, you touched me, I got chicken pox now. Ah, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. So yeah, just ain't nobody gonna tell y'all like this. Take this, break it up, do what y'all want to do. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Because once divine drop the seed, it's going ripple. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I feel the need to say this. Hated to love it, the underdogs on top. Because I'm on shine, homie. Until my heart stops, go ahead and envy me. I'm rap's MVP. Go ahead and get to. I don't know why I hear that song in my head right now. Hated to love it, homie. The dogs on top. That's that 50 shit, right? Yeah. Shout out to 50 in game. You know what I'm saying? Even though they ain't together, that was a dope ass song. I don't know why that shit was in my head just now. So I ain't gonna hold you, yo. Just trying to show you something, man. NAGA the Wise. Tighten up. Tighten up, y'all. Y'all know. Y'all know what it is. And I know y'all vibing with me right now. Just know, old age is not real. All right. Oh, I gotta add this before I go. Elders, y'all sitting there looking at your elders and stuff, and y'all see their hands looking frail and the joints in their hands look swollen. That's starch, right? That's starch. That's from like the breads and the rice, the extra starch. When they kill the life germ, all that starch builds up in the joints because it's heavy. You know what I'm saying? So it'll build up there, and that's how those get swole up. And they also start to block off the water flow to things. So our elders are not old, they're dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? So this is why we're supposed to have a balance. Oil and water is not supposed to mix, but your body's supposed to be half and half, right? You're supposed to have a bunch of water and a bunch of oil, but the beneficial oils, not the nasty oils. The nasty oils will burn your ass. The beneficial oils will have you glistening when you sweat. You'll be glowing and shit, right? And those oils is what keeps you cool, right? And it keeps all the natural stuff inside your body. Why? Why is that important? Because oil is viscous. Right, so the minerals that need to stay, the light minerals that need to stay, they can come out. They can stay in your body with the oil. They're not gonna sweat out. But the heavier stuff, the salts, the sodium bicarbonates, and all that can sweat out and break down the nasty oils and the dirts in your body, and that comes out your pores. There's blackheads and all that. But that good oil is supposed to be there to keep the rest of the water in. And this is why you filter in those balances back into your body. Now, doing that will keep you young. That'll keep you young. It'll keep your muscles and everything on the inside oiled up, so they don't start drying out. You know what I'm saying? Sugar spikes. The sugar spikes, it gets hot inside your body. Now, you know what caramel is. Caramel gets really hot. If you cook sugar on the stove and put it on your skin, you'll see what the fuck I mean. It gets really, really hot. So if you have a lot of sugar in your body, and knowing that your body is 98.9 degrees, is damn near 100 degrees, you're melting the sugar inside your body, and that sugar is turning to tar over a period of time, and it's closing the pores in your body, and these spikes of sugar in your body is literally cooking your organs. Cooking it. Yeah, they're cooking your organs inside your body. Like, that's what's making you old. Yeah, you well done on the inside. So if you want to get all that shit out of there, you want to scrape it all out, scrape out all that old brown skin off the bones and all that, you have to get back to sour shit. You have to use sour shit. What do we clean our meats with? We clean our meats with lemon, vinegar, stuff like that, best way to get it out. So, hey, get it in. Stop drinking, stop eating sugar, dump some sour shit in your body, the natural sours. Get all those sours in your body, you know what I'm saying? And that shit starts to dissolve as that water's sitting there. It dissolves all that sugar, and you start to piss and shit, all of that out. That's really what it is. The sugars block the pores. We gotta clean it off, dissolve it with a lot of lemons, and get that water circulating. If you wait long to do it, it's gonna be harder to do it. And you gotta keep in mind, that's what the magnesium is for, to help the body recreate and reprint the organs, so your organs are healthier. This is how you become fresh and new again. Divine design you to shed, so therefore your body will recreate the organs. So all that stuff got to be pushed out of you as it dissolves. Make sure your body's aligned for the process that it's supposed to do. If you're putting stuff in there and then your machine don't work because you putting sugar in your gas tank, what you think is going to happen? You're going to get old. You know what I'm saying? So if ain't nobody told you like this, you heard it for the first time. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, take everything I'm saying and go check for your damn self. You're going to be like, how the hell he knew that? And how does he know that so comfortably? All praises to the Most High. I ain't trying to hold you, just trying to show you something. NAGA the Wise.